72.
The B-64.
B-16.
B-37.
63.
That's the one that went right past my house. On Gilston Avenue, I was stoop ball queen. Punch ball, too. It was safe. Ozzie and Harriet safe. My family played 20 questions at the dinner table.
What is?
My childhood was a large pie from Pizza Wagon on Friday nights because good Catholics like the Gigantes didn't eat meat on Fridays back then.
Pizza! Pizza!
It was my job to go get the pizza and carry it home safe, 6 long blocks, struggling to hold it straight so the hot cheese wouldn't stick to the cardboard box top. In that small, squat brick house on Gilston Avenue, I never went to bed hungry. Our tiny apartment was always warm in the winter and cool in the summer from the big, loud window fan. And later, the AC, which was even louder. I never realized how good life was on Gilston Avenue.
It was the spaghetti she made every Wednesday and Thursday at 171 MacDougal Street between Hopkinton and Saratoga in Brooklyn. Bet she would become our second mother to us, me, Eric, her first always, then Charles, Jimmy, Jake, and Vice Bay. Charles, Jimmy, Jake, and Vice Bay. Well, Jake, he had a mean right hand in the basement, slipping his blistered knuckles against my jaw. Oh, I would bob and weave in the corner of the room, making him miss often. Jake, 340s a day at 14. Bet that my mother worked in the garment district, 37th Street, 7th Avenue, 7th floor, making handbags from 8 until 2 in the afternoon for those who strolled Madison Avenue. Having high tea at the Regis, the Essex, the Waldorf, and the Plaza. My mother and Bet taking the local train home, sometimes until after we were all home from school, thinking about what we wanted to be, watching I Spy, Mission Impossible, Combat, and Garrison's Gorillas. Daydreaming from dawn to dusk. Daydreaming from dawn to dusk, making spaghetti on Wednesday and Thursday with Ajax and water, imploring our daughter Denise, always scrub the walls white on Fridays, child, before going to that sneaker hop. Denise and I, well, our tongues mix afternoons, double-mint gum, and evenings together all day and all night in the back row at the RKO Bushwick. It was the year of Cloud 9 by the text, and the good, the bad, and the ugly. White Castle hamburgers for 16 cents, White Rock grape soda. My mom and Bet last year were reminiscing in her 5th floor walk-up. The rooster and the bed bug got in a fight. The rooster kicked the bed bug clean out of sight. The bed bug said, "That's all right.
I'll meet you in the courthouse
Tomorrow night." Oh, banana pudding and coffee. Shaking the carnation milk first. Brooke Benton singing with Diana Washington.
Captain and Tennille.
Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell.
Sonny and Cher.
Peaches and Herb.
Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway.
9 of us rode in Joe's unair-conditioned Bonneville, listening to Bobby Blue Bland music over and over and over. Down Atlantic Avenue and then the South Conduit, the back window stayed stuck to the flies in the heat. My mom and her reminiscing over boyfriends and husbands, their bad knees and hips, all gone now. Except one, well, you know, my father, he never met it with my mom in Brooklyn where there were more trees, learning new sewers for street stickball. Sitting in Henry's chair, in the barbershop, listening to him hum his national anthem in fluent Spanish. Well, my father, he took a different train than the A, staying in Harlem but not listening anymore to Malcolm, Martin, Mingus, or Monk. He went away from the sunset and into the blood-burning moon. Blue, the Lakeshore Limited to Chicago. That Sunset Limited to California. All gone now.
All gone now.
Taking different trains through vertical cities. Mom reminiscent with Bet. 2 mothers now in that same heartbeat in that 5th floor walk. The right arm shaking uncontrollably, just shaking the carnation milk for the coffee.
4th grade, Catholic school was hell for a shy, stuttering 10-year-old like me. Mrs. Curry didn't like Italian kids because she would say mean things to me like,
"Hey, Kevin, what do you wash your hair with, shoe polish?"
I would cower at my chipped wooden desk, bowing my jet black head in embarrassment and whisper, "No." Actually, it was Johnson's baby shampoo. And when I summoned all of my courage to raise my hand and answer a question, she would interrupt me and ask,
"If I tied your hands behind your stupid back, would you still be able to talk?"
The whole class would laugh at Mrs. Curry's joke at my expense, while I would sink lower into my seat, wishing to disappear from St. Patrick's Grammar School in the heart of Bay Ridge. And when I told my mother about Mrs. Curry's taunting, instead of defending me, she said to me, "Don't be silly. Why wouldn't Mrs. Curry like Italian kids? Her husband is Italian." And then in 8th grade, just before graduation, Miss Coughlin had each student come up to her desk one by one, and she asked us in her lovely Scottish brogue where we would be attending high school. Well, when I told her that I'd be going to Fort Hamilton, the local public high school, Miss Coughlin snapped,
"What's the matter? Can't your parents afford to send you to Catholic school?"
Well, what I couldn't tell Miss Coughlin was that I was tired of attending schools where the boys couldn't grow their hair past their shirt collars and the girls couldn't wear their skirts above their knees. I didn't want to go to a school like Fontbonne Academy, St. John Villa, or Bishop Kearney, where the teachers refused to call me Kathy because that wasn't a saint's name. And Miss Coughlin would not have understood anyway.
9, 18, 27, 35.
36, Darryl.
Mrs. Reville rapped my knuckles with the yardstick because I didn't know my 9s. 9, 18, 27, 36, 44.
45, Darryl.
My knuckles became callous early. Maybe that's why I have a stronger right hand when I punch and play paddleball. And Bonetta, with her broken front tooth, always laughing like a hyena. Once she scratched me with her chipped red nails, causing me to be taken to the nurse's office. The iodine swab stung even harder than Mrs. Reville's rapping on my knuckles. A blue school mom dress that she wore every day. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 66, 72.
His name was Raphael.
Her name was Vivian.
Café con leche skin, first generation ABC. I was 13. He was a year younger. My first real boyfriend.
Cobalt blue, black skin from Trinidad. Butterscotch lip gloss and double mint gum. Brand new sky blue suit. Butterscotch lip gloss and double mint gum. Brand new sky blue suit from Mays on Fulton Street. Blueberry blue $14 patent leather shoes. Canary yellow tie and a $2 pink shirt with a 10% discount.
Big, perfect teeth. Raphael could do the robot even better than Michael Jackson when Dancing Machine came on the transistor radio.
Dancing, dancing, dancing! She's a dancing machine. Oh yeah! Car trip to Coney Island, my 67 blue Pontiac that I picked up for $600. 2 cotton candies, 2 funnel cakes, 2 foot-long hot dogs with extra relish, mustard and ketchup, 2 tall lemonades with 2 extra sugars.
Hesitant kisses in that private corner of the schoolyard. No tongue.
No tongue.
No tongue.
Aww. Me
fuzzy-haired, bracelets on my teeth, as Raphael's baby sister called them. Gangly, no one's idea of pretty.
Ain't pretty.
And I would ask myself, what did Rafael Martinez see in me?
We locked lips and maneuvered our tongues on the Wonder Wheel. More butterscotch lip gloss and double mint gum.
One bright, blue, lazy Sunday afternoon, a bunch of us took the double R.
Double A, double E, double C to double K.
We took the double R to the city, got off at Rector Street. Somehow we found ourselves at the World Trade Center, which was still under construction then.
Looked at the cyclone, the thunderbolt, and the tornado, 3 heavyweight roller coasters. We decided on a tornado.
Lower Manhattan was our playground. We ended up taking the elevator to an unfinished upper floor. The Trade Center's windows weren't even in yet. The wind whipped through us, around us, along the floor covered with scraps of wood and cement dust. A perfect day, full of laughter and cool mint crest kisses from Raphael.
Just before the second sudden angle of descent, Vivian's puke was on a continuous plane, decorating my suit, shirt, and shoes with all 7 colors of the rainbow. In my only remaining dry suit pocket, I discovered 2 peppermint lifesavers and a crumpled napkin.
When we got home to Brooklyn, my storybook day was ruined. Raphael broke up with me. He said he only asked me out to get close to my best friend, Cindy Olsen. And on the radio, the spinner sang, "It's a shame the way you messed around with me. It's a shame the way you hurt me."
On the drive home, Otis Redding sang "These Arms Are Mine" on the radio.
It was my first taste of heartbreak, which was so different than Crest.
Uncle Ray!
Uncle Ray!
Uncle Ray!
Uncle Ray!
Raymond!
No one ever told me that my Uncle Ray was dying. I was shocked when we drove out to Valley Stream to visit him. He was so eaten up by cancer that I didn't even recognize him.
That year was 1990. The first time I knew my Uncle Ray was sick was the first time I ever saw him disheveled. His hair was uncombed, devoid of his customary short fro with perfectly sculpted barber's lines around the back of his neck. Shirt unbuttoned all the way, exposing his curly gray chest hairs, and pants almost falling off with his zipper completely open. Now, this wasn't my Uncle Ray.
Earlier that morning, my mother had sent me to the Italian butcher to buy a pound of calf's brains. It was the only thing Uncle Ray had an appetite for. Made the calabrese way, scrambled with eggs.
Not the guy who was always so perfectly coiffed from his floor-shine shoes up to his designer tennis collar shirts, and he entered the house always singing, "Caledonia! Caledonia! What makes your big head so hard?"
For some reason, my Aunt Camille could not get baby cow's brains in Long Island. So when I ordered them from the sawdust-covered wooden floor at A&S Corp on 5th Avenue and 86th Street, everyone stared at me like I was a sick little girl to eat such things.
He never smoked, even though Aunt Jessie inhaled enough Tareytons.
Tareyton smokers would rather fight than switch.
For the entire 26 floors of Pratt Towers at 333 Lafayette Avenue,
126 Gelston,
217 West 111th Street,
5605 13th Avenue,
1289 St. John's Place,
9400 Shore Road. Now that's near Colonial Road in Bay Ridge, and that's classy.
Viceroy,
Parliament,
Pall Mall,
Marlboro,
Chesterfield, Chesterfield, Viceroy,
Parliament,
Pall Mall,
Marlboro,
Chesterfield. And boy, don't bring me no bean pie in here. Last time it gave me diarrhea all day in church.
Bring me some of those Lucky Strikes.
Yeah, Lucky Strikes and black pepper.
And no-name cigars. We called them Guinea Stinkers, but that's okay. We were Italian.
Well, you know, he never smoked. Not a pipe nor cigar. He was only dependable in sipping his 2 rock glasses of Dewars and ginger every evening after dinner, after all was said and done, trying to understand how much of the world was climbing up and down his back while he supervised maintenance in the basement of Esplanade Gardens in Harlem, 148 and Lenox.
I was horrified, so embarrassed. But if I would have known that the dish was Uncle Ray's last wish, I wouldn't have cared.
He just rode his brown two-tone Pontiac Grand Prix, east and west on Atlantic Avenue, and along Eastern Parkway. First there was that push-button Chrysler.
My Aunt Henny's big black Pontiac.
Oldsmobile Delta.
My dad's Comet was turquoise with cat's eye headlights.
Buick Electric 225, the solution of the water.
Uncle Richard's Town and Country station wagon with that cool wood paneling on the sides.
Now listen, all you nappy-headed young kids, get in the back. Granny Marquis. He was one of the first males in my family, Uncle Ray, to take on the father role. I was always longing for, encouraging me to see the world. Watching I Spy every Sunday and then saying after the episode, go there. His braggadocio was annoying to others, but never to me. His voice in my ear was always the push I needed. Bragging about his $27,000 a year salary in 1989. Nah, Uncle Ray could not be dying. Uncle Ray!
Uncle Ray!
Raymond. Hey, shh, hush. Shh. Nah, what did he just hear say?
Oh, they're just friends.
He was after hours in the back of the club.
I heard it was 2 apple martinis for her, 3 CC's and ginger for him.
Hush, child, hush.
We don't talk about that.
It all began, when she started braiding his hair while his wife was away on one of her teachers' conferences.
Second floor, apartment B. Those 2 nurses hump and scream every night.
He's a fag.
The correct word is gay.
Excuse me.
Not for nothing, but her second cousin looks like her father too much.
Slim hole on her left chin.
Gray eyes just like Natalie Cole, God rest her soul.
He has a wife and 5 kids in Panama.
Diamond Jim is not his real name.
Well, can't be her child because she can't have children.
Well, that's not her husband.
Well, whose child is it then?
Not my husband's.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. He died from a heart attack 1 hour after his visiting nurse came by to give him a bath, 2 shots of old granddad, and Lord knows what else.
I thought he was a Jim Beam man.
He was.
I thought he was a Jim Beam man.
He was until then. I remember what happened now. My uncle's friend Walter, a merchant marine, suddenly started coming around the neighborhood. He was a small, wiry, red-headed guy with an easy smile. Walter was happy to join into our evening stoop ball games. Martha, Bob, and their kids, who lived across the street, where they played too. All of a sudden, Martha started wearing these short halter tops. Her belly button seemed as deep and mysterious to me as the Grand Canyon, and oddly as fascinating. Well, one day I heard whispers in the kitchen as I watched Looney Tunes in the living room with my sister. Martha's husband Bob had stopped by to tell my mom that his wife had left him and run off with Walter. Bob was so distraught that my mother, being a nice person, let him come over sometimes to cry on her shoulder when my dad was at work. One afternoon, I heard a tussle and then more frantic whispers. It seemed that Bob had tried to kiss my mom in our cramped kitchen.
What are you doing?
She wearing her house dress with those sexy button-downs. She favored them.
What are you doing?
Bob left in a hurry.
Get out!
Hush!
Get out!
Hush, my mother told me when I asked what happened. Hush! And I never told anybody, not even my sister.
Shh.
Until now. Hush.
Shh. We don't talk about that. No. Shh. A quick, brutal street fight.
I never knew why that girl grabbed me by the backpack without a word and flung me into the middle of the street, and I never will.
We never knew one another.
But it was fast and it was violent.
We're never meant to be friends.
An old lady I didn't even know helped me up. Street justice, Brooklyn style.
Friends.
Justice.
Be two men.
Street. Backpack.
Never.
Punch.
Were.
Flung.
Another one new.
Middle of the street.
Never. We.
Old lady.
Fight. Street.
Street brutality.
Quick. Fight. Blood. With. Suffuse. Fight! September 1968. The first day going to Fort Hamilton High School was spent finding it before attending it. I was supposed to attend Boys High for Eastern District,
You'll have to fight your way in and fight your way out every day.
My guidance counselor, Mrs. Flynn, had warned me.
But I want you to go to Fort Hamilton. It's a bit far, but I think you'll like it.
She concluded. Oh, far. Definitely far. It was Star Trek far! I would take the numbers 2, 4, or 5 to Atlantic Avenue, then the RR,
Or the double R,
all the way out to 86th Street and 4th Avenue in Bay Ridge.
which we call the Ridge.
Through a labyrinth of exits and choices for many different trains, including the Long Island Railroad, I found the double R headed for Bay Ridge. Surfacing the station immediately, there was a differentness about the neighborhood. There were more delis, like meats like
Prosciutto,
linguica,
roast beef,
corned beef,
pastrami,
not just bologna,
spiced ham,
and littleish, all kinds of cheeses besides that yellow American stuff.
Munster,
Provolone,
Swiss,
news kiosks,
bakeries,
and white people.
tons of white people.
Primarily Greek and Italian. Even the bus drivers were white. Some with slick back Frankie Valley hair, others with those crew cuts. So within a 90-minute subway ride traveling from Crown Heights to Bay Ridge, my entire music world changed, as did part of my racial world. The train had snaked its way through stations I had never heard of. Though underground, I felt and took inventory of the changes and cultures as we went from station to station, realizing until the end I was almost the only black person on the train. And walking from the 4th Avenue, west and down the hill, 4 avenues, down, towards Shore Road, I felt the weight of being the only black person on the trek overwhelming. For a while, I was the only one. Then I saw a few others sprinkled here and there, finally arriving at Fort Hamilton.
Which we call the Fort.
A rather large building, but pretty with its arches and what resembled a steeple at the top. Its hallways were of spit and polish, well lit, and I found my way to the admissions desk outside the main office where new students were to report. Slowly, my world began to open more. The classes were a bit more studious and orderly. I was cautious with every question and response for fear of being out of my league intellectually. I began to read more and found myself with more readers and less bullying, less slaps on the head. Academically, I felt as if I was always playing catch-up. It was as if everyone was always hitting line drives with their answers, while I struggled to bunt or get a mere base hit. Looking at and racing with the moon, I realized I had to change my game if I was to stay in the game. I was the first in my immediate family to reach high school, so I had to look beyond the expanse of the Verrazano Bridge if I wanted to get there.
September 1973. My friend Anne-Marie came to Fort Hamilton High School from a tough neighborhood, yet she was scared because she didn't know anyone in clean, shiny Bay Ridge. Like most of our basketball team, she came to the fort on something called a Latin variance.
Latin variance.
Now this meant that since Fort Hamilton was one of the few high schools in Brooklyn that still offered Latin, if you said that you really, really wanted to learn that dead language, you got to go there. But I think her parents just wanted her to be in a safe place. Anne-Marie's friends were all going to a rough school called John Jay in Park Slope, which was rough then. A short, curly-haired girl, Italian like me, I liked her immediately. Anne-Marie and I became fast friends in Mr. Friedman's algebra class.
Friedman, for 2 summers he failed me. I had to go to summer school.
He was tough. Almost 40 years later, Anne-Marie confessed to me how terrified she'd been that first day at the fort, and that I was her first friend there, the first person who was nice to her, and she never forgot it.
Eric, Charles, Jake, Ricky, Eric, Charles, Jake, Ricky, Eric, Charles, Jake, Ricky, and I shortly had the stage together at the Masonic Hall on Putnam. It was a talent show for all the knuckleheads who wanted to be somebody. The five of us spinning, trying to exchange mics without interchanging leads. My feet hurt all day and the next from those $7.99 white patent leather shoes I had bought at a discount store on 14th Street. And Ricky with his huge afro, he was always the best.
Always the best.
The best bass from Brooklyn. Living on Bainbridge Street. The five of us stretching harmonies, the four of them going to IS-40, me to IS-210 because the Board of Education had finally caught up to me in my sickle cell anemia, pulling me into a different direction, putting me in an HC class, health conservation, they called it that.
In 1966.
My daytime 8 to 3 Monday through Friday friends suddenly became Xavier. Xavier with his brown wheelchair and his two stumps. One day putting his brass knuckle fists against my chin because he thought I had laughed out loud over his constant stuttering. Actually, it wasn't his stuttering, it was his square head that looked like a talking Frosted Flakes cigarette box. And all the champion stitches. On good days, we would ride the back of his wheelchair, woo-wee, woo-wee, around the room, woo-wee, and up and down the corridor, woo-wee. When the teacher left for a while and sent us on errands, woo-wee. Sylvia, this chronic crocodile cough still gives me that, forcing me to kiss her once at a Valentine's Day party when no one was looking, or she would
tell Mrs. Stern that you cheated on that spelling test.
Listen, I didn't know my ologies. And if it didn't have to do with Spider-Man, I wasn't interested in anthropology.
Anthropology.
Dermatology?
Dermatology.
Ichthyology?
ICHTHYOLOGY.
She backed me to the supplies closet against the chalk and erasers and boxes of cement, rubber cement, and said,
"Hey, yellow eyes, kiss me, or I'll tell."
Now, it wasn't about her spinal bifida. I just didn't want to kiss anyone who sounded like a crocodile. And then there was Milton. Milton, the only other kid with sickle cell with eyes more yellow than mine, had said that her lips and her mouth had tasted like onion and vinegar potato chips. And that his stomach turned sour for days after his lips met hers. He said that she put a hex on him so that he'd never be as strong as a Hulk or as quick as Flash Gordon. And that for several weeks he'd had nightmares over and over about the entire experience. He'd been wet in the bed over and over and over and over and over. She wiggled up to me again and said,
Yellow eyes, kiss me, please, kiss me. I'll tell.
But she had me cornered. If I didn't kiss her, she'd tell Mrs. Stern.
Tell Mrs. Stern.
Who in turn would tell my mom. If I did kiss her, then she would have one more victim in her tangled web. Milton and me. Two sets of yellow eyes that glowed like two fireflies in the daytime as well as the night. But I wouldn't have my mother get the news that I had cheated on a spelling test.
You cheated.
I didn't cheat.
And I saw you.
Let alone any test. What the heck? No one was there. Her crocodile eyes stayed focused on me, and for the longest 10 seconds I had to decide. I closed my eyes and thought of Harry Belafonte looking into Dorothy Dandridge's lips in Carmen Jones. I didn't tower over her like I normally would because she was already standing on a crate filled with one used set of a tree grows in Brooklyn and Diary Van Frank in the closet.
My first French kiss was a little different. It was underneath the boughs of Mr. Sanzone's magnolia tree, which was in full bloom. It was mid-June, and the waxy blossoms lay on the sidewalk beneath my fancy Tom McCann shoes. I just graduated from St. Patrick's Grammar School, had an unfortunate shag haircut, and no chest to speak of.
No chest, dude. Ain't nothing to nibble on there.
Yeah, but Junior kissed me anyway. Little did I know that my friend Debbie's younger brothers had followed us and were watching from the corner. They broke into spontaneous applause when Junior finally did the deed.
And it was the kiss. One of my first kisses since elementary school. Her mouth did not taste like onion and vinegar potato chips. Instead, it was like warm butterscotch and Breyers, vanilla ice cream. I was no longer feeling resentful. I took myself to that warm place in the sun where both Harry Belafonte and Dorothy Dandridge's lips met for all of 5 seconds, and I kissed her again. And again. And again, reminding myself that it was one of my first kisses on the mouth since I left 5th grade in the arms of Diane Jones with her formaldehyde flipper hands. In my last summer growing up in Harlem, Sylvia's mouth emitted the taste of warm butterscotch and cotton soft lips, preparing my stomach very well for the red velvet cake and banana pudding with real vanilla wafers Gerald's mother made for us with her cigarette always cocked inside her mouth, always cocked inside her mouth, always cocked inside her mouth.
Our romance, it didn't last. It was a long-distance relationship. I lived in Brooklyn, Junior lived in Queens, and neither of us drove. We were only 13. We lost touch, moved on.
Gerald, the only one of us with cerebral palsy, with his limp and drag, he was good at making foul shots in the gym with his soft, limp left hand. And Ramon with a plastic tube dangling from his chest outside his white shirt every day, always laughing. He was the first person I saw with purple lips and fingers. Smartest of us in math and everything else, playing doctor. He said it was his early training since he'd already had so much experience with doctors and hospitals. On Fridays during show and tell and after lunch, we would quiet after eating all the municipal cookies and drinking milk from those miniature containers. He would play his guitar, and play his guitar, and just play that guitar. Sometimes Mrs. Stern, who wore that same blue schoolmarm dress all day and every day, would sneak a Kent cigarette and a nap from all of us over her plan book, an unfinished cream cheese sandwich on wheat bread.
Damn, she was 100 years old back then.
Ramon started one long absence from school, being admitted to St. Mary's Hospital, where the nuns would ring the morning bells at 7 a.m. Bing!
Ding.
Ding!
Years later, I heard that Junior died when he was only 18, an undiagnosed heart condition. He trained to be a plumber and dropped dead the minute he hit the hot workroom floor. I couldn't help but wonder if our sweet moment beneath Mr. Sanzone's magnolia tree on Gelston Avenue was one of his last thoughts. I hope it was.
Ramon died inside his oxygen tent at 13 over the Christmas holiday when I was putting together model airplanes and sniffing a little glue. His sudden death was a stepping stone into daydreaming about how to do things on my own. Lacing up my white Chuck Taylor Converse sneakers against my mother's wishes, I wore them outside and into the snow. I worked on my curveball, fast pitching the Pink Spalding at the frozen concrete wall of IS-40, where my other friends, Aaron, Jake, Vice Mate Ricky, with his deep bass voice, played tag football behind me. Growing weary of smelling white shoe polish on my breath, I learned to buy my own sneakers and discounted sharkskin pants from Alladice on Fulton Street and find my own voice. Like the Four Tops, no more shoe polish on my breath.
No more shoe polish on my breath. No more French kisses from Puerto Rican princes.
2000,
2002.
2004,
2006.
2008.
2010.
There I go, there I go, there I go, there I go. North of the Belly Woman, it is cold where musicians play jazz in the snow. Under the clock at the Biltmore Hotel. Salamander sleep. Snake eyes grumble, dead canary woman suck toe jams of coffee breath men looking for jazz sounds. Borrowed French horns search Latin guitars for Mingus's fingers dancing up blue-red Delta 12-ball rifle shot madness through the roof up, screaming if Beale Street could talk. Pretty lady, you are there? North of the Belly Woman, south of the Alaskan sun, it is warm. Where East St. Louis, across from Memphis, giant great men speak in poetry where jazz and blues are basketball and insanity under silver dollar hoops. Sparkling golden rims, platinum backboards. In California, these men know language of talking secrets are stored in poems of Mississippi blues of kings. North of the belly woman, south of the Alaskan sun. East of St. Louis, the spirit is warm where cold musicians try to play jazz under hotel clocks. We tried to dance fusion in snow, but peanut butter and mustard don't taste good on white bread. Where fingers need life songs of bird, we hummed before bird made music touch. Where elephants sang snake eye songs, canary woman breathed children, coffee breath men laugh. North of the belly woman, south of the Alaskan sun. East of St. Louis, west of New York, our discovery is ugly and romantic where, in adagio, the strings, bends truths, life forms, kisses, smell of homemade whiskey, clean-headed monkeys dance from orange trees. Oh! You wouldn't use that word if you knew what it meant. If you knew what it meant, you could see where she was dark in the middle. 12-ball madness becomes fruit juice in summer. 217 West 11th Street.
126 Gelston.
56 St. Nicholas.
5605 13th Avenue.
1289 St. John's Place.
9400 Shore Road.
333